It is that time again. Last week, I officially got to level 60 on my second ever World of Warcraft character. And well, I really don't want to stop playing this game, even though it would probably be good for me both mentally and physically. I haven't seen the sun in 4 months. So I want to start another adventure in Azeroth. Now, last time I did this, it was obviously on my mage, and to be honest, I sort of rushed it, doing the best farms in the game and farming XP as quickly as I could, but that's not what I want this new character to be about. I want to truly explore the game, do the quests I never got to do before, travel my favourite zones and zones I never explored the first time around, and most importantly, exploring a new class and learning the ins and outs. So step 1 to playing World of Warcraft, which is arguably the most important part, creating a character. As for my class, we're going to be playing a Druid for a few different reasons. Firstly, I get to play as a cat. Secondly, they are very versatile, allowing me to take on any role in the game. Thirdly, I get to be a cat. And lastly, because I wanted to play a night elf, because I've never played a night elf before, including in retail. I mean, I don't even know where they spawn. I customized my character to how I liked and came up with the most original name I could think of. As we begin to load in for the first time, I can't help but get excited. New class, new race, new zone. First things first, I gotta fix that. Much better. I got stuck straight into my first ever night elf quest, kill night sabers and kill boars, and I gotta say, this zone is beautiful. It's like Elwyn Forest on mushrooms. Along the way to murder boars, I picked up another quest to collect moss. After completing boar murder, we have to climb a tree in order to visit our class trainer and learn our first new spell before heading for imp killing and more boar murder. I turned in another quest and we got to level 2, only 58 more to go. Next, we headed into a cave to kill spiders and take their sacks and steal an egg. I once again visited my class trainer and then headed out to the starting zone because evidently I'm very good at skipping quests. Until we reached a nice little place called Dolinar and grabbed as many quests as my long ass night elf fingers could hold and got to work killing more sabers, more spiders and oversized pigeons. And the first of many quests where you have to fill a vial of some kind of liquid. I then headed deeper into Teldrassil to complete more quests and fill more vials. We also visited Darnassus for the first time to visit my class trainer and grab more quests that would hopefully get me to level 10 so that I could unlock my first form. I headed up to the backside of Teldrassil to kill a load of these fungus monsters as well as harpies. Man, those things are ugly. After finishing up those few quests, we were so close to level 10. And to be honest, there wasn't really any other quest that I wanted to do, so I just grinded out a few mobs until we eventually reached level 10, the first big milestone. I excitedly made my way back to my class trainer, hoping that I could now learn how to become a cat, but to my surprise, there was nothing. So with a quick Google search, I learned that you actually don't unlock cat form until level 20, but I could learn how to become a bear right now. But first, I'd have to complete a quest chain. Of course you do. First step, we get given a free spell which allows us to teleport to Moonglade, which is handy I suppose. Once there, we first need to speak to a large bear spirit, which makes sense for learning bear form. For the next part, we needed to take a trip to Darkshore. Now, I've never actually done any content in Darkshore, really only passed through it, so I was looking forward to questing here. We needed to visit a cave in order to complete the next part, so I buffed up and cleared out the entrance before heading in and summoning the bear spirit. We then of course needed to return to the quest giver, and we had learned bear form. We then needed to make the long journey to Ironforge, and we learned a couple of professions, herbalism and mining, which I would later swap out for alchemy. I then wanted to quest in a more familiar place, so I headed to Elwyn Forest to meet up with a friend of mine. Now he's a little bit of a lower level than me, so I just helped him catch up whilst leveling my herbalism until we were both level 10 and could head into Westfall together. You know, I love Westfall. You've just got finished with your starting zone, and this is like the first step into freedom. We of course started by grabbing every quest available and got to work clearing all of the regular quests. like Westfall stew, making us kill a load of wildlife for their organs. We also got started with the People's Militia questline because Rag really wanted the Red Defias mask, a purely cosmetic item for rogues. But after a good 30 minutes of farming these mobs, we were unable to get one. We then kind of split off. I went to go make progress on my quests, and Rag stayed behind to farm for his mask. I did the Knoll Paw quest and gathered up some Murloc eyes, and by that time I was getting a little tired of Westfall. So I decided to look for another place to quest for a while, since Rag had already gone off for the night, and settled for Loch Modan. I've said it before, but I will say it again. This is one of my most favourite zones in the game. Not just because it's very aesthetically pleasing, but because the quests all work together, and you can get them done pretty efficiently. I started out here with some good old-fashioned kobold killing, and whilst we were here, we hit level 13. I also discovered that as a bear, I could take on more than one mob at a time and survive. I then started moving up towards the back of the zone, picking herbs and killing wildlife as I went. We then enter into a kobold mine in order to steal their ears and pick up lost miners gear. I then turned in all of the quests and realized that there really wasn't any other quest that I could do here, since the others were all much too high of a level for me. So I decided just to head back into Westfall and finish the quest that I had started earlier. Once we were back in Westfall, I got started doing the People's Militia again, this time needing to collect 15 red leather bandanas. And whilst I was waiting for the Defias to respawn, I thought I would just get started on killing Harvest Watchers. I then started moving more to the north of Westfall in order to collect sacks of oats, kill more Harvest Watchers, and collect the Pocket Watch. After I'd completed those, I headed further south to complete one of the final quests for People's Militia and do the Defias Messenger, who the two people I was partied with happened to kill. And then it was time for basically the last quest for Westfall and the final quest of the People's Militia questline. A very simple one: kill 15 Defias Highwaymen, 5 Defias Pathstalkers, and 5 Defias Knuckle Dusters. After that, we were done with Westfall. No more quests to complete. Well, basically. And you know, the opportunity to do dead mines was getting closer and closer, but I just needed a little bit more XP. So I decided to journey to the east and into Redridge Mountains, another zone that I absolutely love. Once I was here, I got started straight away with the easiest quest on the list: collect 5 Gore Tusk Snouts, which really only took a couple of minutes to complete. I then did the first part to a 3-part quest, collecting crisp spider meat. I then did the first Knoll kill quest, which can be a little tricky since they don't spawn here in massive abundance, except for when they are around the campfires, but that's too hard for me to solo. So I teamed up with a random guy and we smashed through it quite nicely. I then started doing the Condor meat quest, but died a couple times, which was okay because I had to log off for the day anyway. Logging on the next day, it was still pretty early, and I wasn't expecting any Dead Mines groups to be going, so I just listed myself on the LFG tool just in case, and decided to do the Defias Messenger quest just to get it out of the way. But after failing, someone invited me to join their group, presumably for a Dead Mines run, and well, I just thought, screw it, we can finish the quest later. So I took myself over to the Dead Mines entrance and patiently waited for everyone to arrive, and once most people were here, I decided that we would just start clearing. And well, obviously I tank on my main character, so I thought that I would tank on my Druid as well. I mean, the rotation isn't very complicated, considering the only abilities I can use are Maul, Swipe, and Demoralizing Roar. After a couple minutes of clearing the entrance, everyone was here and ready, so I buffed everyone up and began chugging the potions that I had been making, and got started with the first pool. We made it to the first boss, Zor, and I made sure to pull him away from the 2 ads that were standing next to him, just to make sure this goes as smoothly as possible. We got him down nice and easy, but there was no loot, but that's okay since there is loads of nice loot that I can get from this dungeon. As I started pulling the next pack, I started to notice something. It is really difficult to hold threat on a Druid, at least at this level anyway. For whatever reason, our hunter was generating so much threat, and it felt like I couldn't generate try any, but I kind of brushed it off, and I'm hoping that as I level up, it will get easier. Eventually, we make it to the second boss, Sneed. Now, I always liked this boss. I think it's a cool idea. You've got to first kill the Shredder, and after you do, the boss himself pops out. Unfortunately, he did only drop his crappy cloth hands, and I ended up just passing on it. After clearing the next mine, we get to the third boss's room, and I do remember to be very careful when pulling here because these guys hit hard, and pulling more than necessary could spell death. And when we did pull the boss, it looked like it was going to get a bit sketchy, but it actually did turn out okay because our healer was pretty good. Eventually, we clear our way into the final room with the big ship in it, and we take on Mr. Smite, who we got down pretty easily. We then move along the edge of the ship, and once again, being as careful as I can, since in this area, I've been told it can be quite buggy, and sometimes if you make a wrong move, the entire area can get pulled. We then pull the next boss, Captain Foreskin, who dropped the Defias Blackened Belt, which is a pretty neat piece for us. And then it was time for the technically last boss of the dungeon, Edwin Van Cleef. Now he has the chance to drop the Defias Blackened Armor, which is basically our chase item of the dungeon. Sadly though, he dropped the horrible Corsair's Overshirt. And lastly, Captain Cookie, who doesn't really feel like a boss, but he dropped the Cookie's Tenderizer. And that was it. We had completed our first of probably many dungeons on our brand new Druid. I hope you all enjoyed today's video because I enjoyed making it. I always do. I apologize for the slightly shorter video today. The next one will hopefully be a bit longer. Remember, if you're not subscribed, feel free to help a brother out. It costs you nothing, and it means the world to me. Now, the next video will be a fart and sniff video. I know. How exciting. Also, the Mage Modan video is coming nicely, I suppose. So look forward to that. Anyway, I think I've yapped enough. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later.